Welcome back to the Always Aggressive podcast. Corey Paul, Tanner Lipson, head coach Tony Ersland, and our fourth member joining us this week, William Soleil, the new communications director for Purdue Wrestling. William, awesome to have you on the show.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here. It's been a couple weeks coming. Been in West Lafayette for about 3 weeks now, getting used to the Indiana lifestyle. But I'm pumped to be here and pumped for the season. We're officially 1 month away from wrestle offs today, so it's so close you can taste it.
Tony, do you know why William's my favorite guy?
No, Tanner, I don't. Please tell me.
Because now I only have to do one job.
I figured that was coming, but I didn't want to steal your thunder, man. I did not want to steal your thunder. I wanted you to announce that with authority. So nice job.
That. Yeah, no, that was it's been a very interesting couple weeks with William on board now. I found myself stopping myself from doing things and be like, nope, that's not your job anymore. Oh, William, text my man here.
It's all me. It's all me, baby.
So, but no, man, we're pumped to have you. We're pumped to have you on the show, and looking forward to introducing you to the people that actually are out there that listen to us, which we're still confused by.
I mean, there's a lot to talk about, man. It's a big time program. That's why I'm here. I'm pumped. I come from Oklahoma. I come from wrestling roots, so it wasn't just any old program that got me out of the Sooner State. So I'm pumped to be here.
Oddly enough, William, did you know I was born in Oklahoma?
I didn't know that. I didn't
know that either.
I was born in Ponca City, Oklahoma.
I did know that.
It's a good wrestling in Ponca City too over the years.
Good barbecue sauce in Ponca City.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, head country.
Man, we all learned something today about Tanner. I thought I knew a lot about him, or most things, but yeah, I learned something today.
He's like an onion. You got to keep peeling back the layers.
That a boy. That's right.
And he makes you cry.
I like the Shrek thing, man. I like, Parfait's got layers. Why can't I be like that? Like Donkey said, man, I'd be an onion for it. That's gross.
So, William, walk us through a little thumbnail sketch of your bio. You come from OU Wrestling, like you said. I know you're a sooner born, sooner bred, when you die, sooner dead kind of guy. But tell us about yourself.
Yeah. So, born and raised Tulsa, Oklahoma. Went to school at OU, and then through a couple different hops, skips, and jumps, made it back to work in communications at OU and got my first taste of wrestling. It was about this time last year I started there, actually. So I've been in wrestling for about a year now, and it's got a hold of me. I had family that wrestled as a kid, and I actually knew a family friend of mine walked on the OU wrestling team back in the day. But yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting journey. I'll never forget my first wrestling experience walking into the Michigan State Open at 6 a.m. and then didn't walk out until about 10 p.m., having only eaten whatever snacks coach brought that were left over from the players for about however long that was. And we had at one point, I think, 7 guys on the mat at the same time between the open and the frost soft division. And it was a real baptism by fire that first week. We had 3 title winners and 6 finalists. So it was kind of like, hey, you better figure it out and figure it out quick. I didn't go to bed till about 2 a.m. that night putting together graphics because I didn't have any championship graphics made, and I wanted the boys to be well honored for their hard work. So that day was crazy, but it was fun as hell. I'll never forget Mitch Moore. I tweeted that he was about to start on mat 4, and by the time I got the tweet out, he'd pinned the kid he was wrestling in about 45 seconds. And I looked up. I had been looking at a different mat.
Tweet faster.
I looked back, and it was a different match. I was like, I don't know what's happening here, but it's I love the sport. Really got a hold of me. It's been really fun. obviously NCAAs are in Tulsa this year, which is really exciting for me. So it's going to be a hometown event for me, which will be awesome. But,
we'll have a local guide, Tony. It'll be great.
That's right. I'm looking forward to it.
Know where all the hot spots are. I'm going to be your spiritual guy. I'm sure one of these podcasts will have I'll do a little guide to Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah, for sure.
William's Guide to Tulsa. Here's all the places you should visit.
Love it.
Exactly.
I like it. It's got potential.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, what he just talked about is what I liked about William. You know, some people, if you're not in wrestling, you don't know what it really is. And you're talking about first open tournament of the year, walking into a cold gym before weigh-ins, trying to get everybody down to weight. And then you got 12 hours of wrestling to boot, you know what I mean, before you get on the bus and go home or head back to the hotel. So I felt good that he knew what he was getting into. You know, sometimes they don't even know what they're getting themselves into and if it's going to work or not, but he had a good idea of what it is and what it was, and still decided that he loves it and wants to be a part of it. So that's great for all of us.
That was the 2006 Eastern Michigan Open for me. That was the same deal. Yeah. We actually, our bus broke down on the way home from Ipsy.
That sounds about right.
On the freezing bus until like 5 a.m. when a new one came to pick us up. It was awesome.
I've always said that you kind of got to be a certain level of crazy to love wrestling, and so I guess I've got that level of crazy because, I mean, this will be when we go to Cliff Keen in about 2 months. It'll be my 4th trip to Vegas with a wrestling team in the last 400 days, and I would have never a year ago today. I would have never thought we'd be doing all that. So yeah, it's a crazy sport. It's a wild time though. I love it.
Yep.
What do they say, Corey? We're all here because we're not all there.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. That's never been more true than this conversation right here.
In addition to meeting our good friend William here, lots to talk about this week. Lots going on in the wrestling world. We teased last time the World Championships have come and gone with a fine showing by the US of A. We've gotten our conference schedule, so we can hit on some of those points. And we have seen a couple different sets of preseason rankings go out from our friends at Flow Wrestling and Intermat, and some nice marks for some of our young Boilermakers. So with that, you know, Tony, I figure I'll kick it to you to give us your impressions of how we did at the World Championships.
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, another good, strong showing by the women. They're very consistent, right, in their performances, silver as a team, and just a number of other strong performances, as individuals. So their consistency is right there. I mean, I'm sure they're working on how to overcome Japan, right? They're kind of been the more dominant force, but our women are right there and always represent themselves very well, just very consistent and strong year after year. Although I'm sure Terry Steiner is trying to figure out how to make the last jump, over Japan. The men, really brought their star power. And then the highlight for me is having spent 8 years at Nebraska prior to coming here with Burroughs was really just awesome to see him kind of get his 7th, championship and surpass Coach Smith as well. So that was really awesome to see, as well as a number of other really good performances, by guys you'd expect with Dake and Taylor and Snyder and, Gilman and those guys. So just, a lot of firepower for that team right now. Obviously kind of marred by the fact that Russia wasn't there, because that kept some of the really marquee matchups that other people would like to see out of the mix. But you can't do anything about who's in front of you. And certainly they represented themselves well. So that was exciting to watch those guys really take care of business.
William, you kind of remarked the fact that you're only a year into the sport. How wild is it for you to, in just a year, all of a sudden you're following international wrestling as well as the college stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it is crazy. I didn't even know what Flow was about a year ago, and now I'm I don't know if I could live without a subscription. So it's crazy. I mean, obviously, you get a taste of that in your first NCAA's experience. I kind of got to go and watch it for the finals as a fan, because we didn't have anyone wrestling, and they're just even at that level, which I know the world's is a different thing, but obviously Gable Steveson is a guy that will eventually be on that circuit, and watching him was crazy. And the Big Ten wrestling is awesome, and we're going to talk about that later. I'm excited to get to see some of those guys, but yeah, I mean, it's something I had no knowledge of a year ago, and now it's hard not to appreciate just how incredible these guys are.
I feel like all these years later, Tony, like William said, like, it's incredible. I still don't feel like I know what's going on, but it's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know don't ask me any Greco-Roman rules. Don't even. I have no idea.
Well, I don't know if any of us on this call could give you a great explanation or something that you're going to consistently expect in Greco. I'll tell you that it's hard for me to keep up. As much Greco as I watch, I still don't get the way some of the calls roll, William. So you're not alone there, buddy.
Yeah, good to know.
I hate to interject here. My phone just buzzed. Congratulations. I know we can't say any names. Congratulations on the commitment that was just announced, Coach. That's a big pull and a nice addition to the family. Can't wait till November when we sign some documents and can talk more about this young man. But obviously a nice day for the program.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's typically the tweet where some coaches put out the big boom, #boom or something, right? I mean, that's usually what they do. So yeah, we've talked a lot about the last 4 weeks. We've been recruiting every weekend and working our tail off along with practice with the guys. And so to have another really strong commit from a highly nationally ranked guy and who's well regarded in this 23 class is awesome. And we are pumped about it. And we'll talk more about them when we can, but just know that, the fruits of our hard labor are kind of coming to fruition here. So excited about that. And thanks for bringing that up now. That's
like I said, my phone just did the little buzz thing, and we were tagged in some posts. And so I felt it was a good time to share.
Yep. And we apologize for being cryptic, but we'll share when we can.
Just tweet a GIF of a train going by, and people will figure it out.
They'll know. There you go.
People who know will know.
World Championships were really cool. It was fun to follow. I know we had some prospective Boilermakers on campus when it was all going down, and it created a lot of conversation and a lot of people watching on their phones while we were at different appointments and going around campus and whatnot. So it was we were really juggling a lot of balls on that day, trying to keep track of everybody, what they're doing and entertaining our guests. And when you talk about World Championships and even Olympics, right, you notice, and this applies to the Big Ten, like how tough it is, which is a great thing. I mean, you have, guys from several schools in the Big Ten, representative of that team that did so well. So truly, I think it just serves as notice to our young guys and anybody on our team that's the level you have to think and train at, as an aspiring young guy. Like, that's the level you got to think at and train at and live at, in your daily life, because that's your competition. That's your competition, and accept that challenge, and let's go, man. So I think that gets me excited that, hey, this is how we got to think and live and act and train and put all of these things together if we want to be on those levels. So it's inspiring as well. Absolutely. Moving on a little bit here. We got word from the Big Ten here recently that we got our conference dates and opponents. Yep. Unveiling our final 8 duels on the schedule and our 4 home appearances during the conference schedule. The home matches of note, just to run through it, January 8th, we'll be hosting Iowa here at Purdue. Later that month, it's scheduled for January 28th against Indiana here. Yep. February 5th versus Nebraska, and February 12th versus Northwestern. We're still waiting on the TV schedule and for everything to go final, but obviously, like William said, we're a month away from wrestle-offs, and every time we get these pieces of information, it means we're one step closer to the season.
Yeah, and we've said it a million times. It's always a great home schedule with whatever Big Ten team you have coming in, but excited to have Iowa kick off the season. They always travel well. Another obviously great team, so excited to have them kick off the season. And then it's just another good home slate having IU back in our gym this year. That's always a fun event. I will, like you said, you kind of prefaced it. Some of these times, which we don't have, I guess, yet, or even dates could move just based on once we get TV selections. And then also what we're trying to do as far as draw the most people. We were just talking this morning to give kind of the fans maybe a sense of what we're looking at is, IU is during, maybe is it sectionals? It's might be the first postseason weekend or qualification.
Sectionals.
And that's a Saturday right now they've got us on. So certainly I'd like to explore moving it to a Sunday or a different weekend or time so that we can get all the fans in the gym to kind of see that in-state rivalry. So, now the fun begins is just tweaking it a bit and trying to get the most bang for our buck, I guess, the way I look for it.
Yeah, I'm new, but is there an Oaken bucket for every sport? Like, do we have our own Oaken bucket to take from Indiana and shove in their face, or is that just a football thing?
So, I mean, that the Oaken bucket's a football thing, right? We got to figure that out. Like, I'm not against that at all. Like, William, add that to duties as assigned. If you want to figure out what we're playing for, because I think the volleyball plays for the spike.
They got the Mon on spike.
The Mon and spike. So,
soccer's got the golden boot.
There you go.
Women's basketball. What do they call that, Corey?
The barn burner trophy.
The barn burner
trophy. So, and I mean, what trophy needs to reside here in our office complex? That's what you got to figure out.
All right, I'll get on that. Maybe I'll find some sculptor to make us an Oaken, like what are the ear
headgear? You want the headgear?
Yeah, the Oaken headgear.
The Oaken headgear. Well, that's taking it way back.
Tony used to wrestle with wooden headgear. That's how far he goes back.
I knew the old jokes were coming sooner or later. Very good.
It was cauliflower. It's really splinters.
Yeah. And really the funniest thing about that is Tanner's the one who's going to have to wear the headgear first.
Love it.
You know what I mean? Like,
he's the headlock guy.
We'll go takedowns if we've got to figure out who's going to have to wear the headgear first. I nominate Tanner.
Hey, do you understand how much time we would spend in the hospital if that came to fruition?
Yep.
Especially me, but I mean,
yeah,
great content.
You'd hurt yourself trying to hurt me, Tony.
Great content. Your wife's an athletic trainer. It'd be good.
Yeah. No.
I think William, really devote some time to that, man. Let's figure out what we need to play for.
I'm
all about that.
I'll go meet them like halfway. We'll meet in a cornfield and have a discussion. Me and the IU.
There you go.
SID, and we'll hash it out.
Yep. Figure it out.
All right. I like it. Obviously, Tony, Iowa coming back to our place is always a great one to have on the schedule. Bring your alma mater back here. And I love that our community always really shows up hard for that duel. They get a chance to, pack out Holloway or possibly even Mackey, depending on, where we decide to wrestle that duel. And, I think we're discussing the idea of pairing our annual cancer fundraiser for the Iowa duel as well. I've been talking to our friends over at Rudis who are looking to work with us again to provide special edition singlets that we'll auction off. All proceeds going to cancer research. So that should really end up being a great day on the schedule.
Yeah, it's exciting. Like I said, they always travel well. Obviously, a great team, so it's good to kick off Big Ten play with that. I mean, that's a great flavor. I'd also tell you too, as we're looking through this, I like how it kind of laid out. There's only one weekend I'm really unhappy with, and I know you'll know which one that is. But you kick off with Iowa, then we're close to home. We got Illinois the next weekend. What is that, on the 14th maybe?
Yep.
So it's close, an hour and a half away. Illinois only. Before the next weekend, we go on the road.
Yes, we do.
Wisconsin on Friday night, and then Minnesota on Sunday afternoon. So that's the longest road trip of the year against two quality opponents. But again, relatively close to home with single duels only to kick off the season. So not that you're easing into it by any means, but it's not like last year, man. We kicked off. We had Nebraska Friday and Iowa Sunday, both on the road. And that's a long road trip.
That was a trip.
That was a
brutal.
trip. And luckily we split on the road that weekend, getting the win over Nebraska. But yeah, so we ease into it, I guess, as much as you can say that, with two good opponents, but one duel each weekend. Then we're on the road twice, on Friday, Sunday for that, the 20th and the 22nd, before we come back again with a single duel with IU. Just on, was that a Sunday afternoon right now?
Saturday night. It's on a Saturday right now.
Okay. Saturday. And then boy, it gets into, I don't know.
3 of our last 4 at home.
Yep.
Let me throw my glasses on so people, so I can actually see. There we go. Yeah, we got IU on a Saturday, Nebraska at home on a Sunday. Before we get busy on the last week, and the one I'm not happy about, and Tanner knows this, and it's kind of the bane of his existence travel-wise too, is they're sending us to Maryland on a Friday night, and then we got to get back. Yep, and then we're hosting Northwestern
on Sunday.
Yeah, on Sunday, which it's not ideal, but everybody got kind of put in this away and home situation this year, so it's not like we're the only ones, and we'll wrestle well and we'll handle it just fine. But it is curious to me that they send us on our farthest road trip on that weekend. It could have been away to Illinois and then back home for NU. So that's the curious part of this, with me. But otherwise, a really, good schedule.
William, one thing, a tactic that you're going to have to practice is talking Ersland off the ledge and kind of showing him, like, when he pulled that card out and was like, what are we doing here? I went through the rest of the schedule for the other teams and pointed out how, over half the conference has a weekend where they're on the road on a Friday and at home on Sunday, or vice versa. And so, I think it made him feel a little bit better that we weren't alone in the situation. He's still not happy, obviously.
No.
Sure.
Which is a rarity anyway. He's never really all that happy, but
yeah.
But yeah, you have to practice that skill of delivering bad news, but then being able to kind of put it in perspective for him.
Yeah, do a little ice and fire situation. You gotta bring the heat and then cool it off just a little bit. Yeah.
There you go.
Coach, you want the good news or the bad news first? Yeah, give him a choice.
That's a common, that's a common thing. And honestly, my answer varies depending on the mood I'm already in. Sometimes, hey, just hit me over the head with the bat again. Go ahead, keep it coming. We'll finish with the good. But some days I just can't take bad right now. You just got to tell me something positive. So hit me with the good. It'll change. It's not always going to be the same.
Okay, I'll stay on my toes.
There you go. We'll keep you on your toes with that.
And I've got a question for you guys. Obviously I'm new to Big Ten country. And which of these four road duels? I mean, obviously I'm really excited for Holloway. I'm really excited for Mackey. And we can talk about that too, but I'm curious, which of these 4 home duels you guys think are you guys circling? Which one should I be circling? Which one of these is something cool to look forward to for me and potentially our fans that would travel?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so this is, to me, is the great thing about the Big Ten is you could circle just about any of them, right? Because they all have their interesting points, and you're the guy who's going to write about the matchups and, the nuggets,
Sure.
for each duel, right? I mean, I could go down through this and just throw stuff at it left and right, but clearly, right, Iowa's a home duel again. Historic traditional program. They're going to bring a lot of good matchups. IU in state, something that's always a heated rivalry, right? Nebraska, a number of good quality people. Very consistent program. And I've got ties to Nebraska and Iowa, right? By the way, so
and Northwestern.
those are ones you want to circle just from my perspective. And you can't take NU off. A team that last year wrestled extremely well at the end of the year. You know what I mean? And always has some good individuals. So, for me, circle them all. What I mean? Right, William? Like you can't afford to, from a mental aspect, to not be excited and up for any of these, because they all offer significant challenges.
Yeah, it's very much coach speak to, you can't take anybody very lightly. We got to really just focus on the next opponent. And, there's a lot of that, but man, does it ring true in the Big Ten.
Yeah, no doubt.
There really are no days off. Like you're going to walk into a gym and those guys across from you, there's a bunch of hammers over there.
Yep. There's no doubt. So, and that's right. That's because of how we qualify for nationals and because of what the nature of the conference, man. Everyone's big. You gotta have that RPI in line. You gotta have your win percentage, right? You gotta have your ranking. That's how we qualify for our last, event, which is our biggest, right? With the NCAA championships. So truly, man, consistency is rewarded and it's a big deal for us. So again, like Tanner said, I get it's coach speak, but truly don't take a night off. Somebody's going to beat you. That you shouldn't let get by you. So you got to be ready every time.
See now, William, I've got an actual answer. I've got two teams that I'll tell you about off air. We're not going to do that here.
Okay. It's a coach speak podcast. I'll get on board with that. Yeah.
Last and certainly not least, this week we had a couple of the big outlets, Flow Wrestling and Intermat, dropped their preseason rankings in the last few days and highlighted a handful of Boilermakers. William, do you have those numbers on hand?
I do. I have them right in front of me.
I will give you center stage to run those through, man.
All right. So we got 4 on Flow. Matt Ramos. Ramos. It's Ramos.
Okay.
My instinct was right. I questioned myself. I shouldn't have.
Filipino, not Spanish. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Matt Ramos and Thomas Pinola, both in the top 10, ranked at 10 in there at 125 and 97. And then Parker Filius comes in at 12 and 41. And Kendall Coleman at 14 and 157. And then do you want me to go into the Intermat ones as well?
Sure. Yeah, keep it going.
The Ramos is 10 again.
10 again, yeah.
Yeah, moved up to 10 in for Intermats that came out yesterday. Filius is at 14. Coleman also 14. Jake Knoll ranked at 33 in there at 74. And then for some reason, for Pinola, I wrote 197 twice. So I guess I have him ranked at 197.
I think he's 11 or 12.
I think, yeah, he's right there. I'll confirm that real quick, but he's highly ranked.
I think he's right outside the top 10.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's 11. He's 11.
Okay. No, absolutely. So, I mean, clearly, right, people, and we've talked about this in the past, we're going to have a young team with a lot of new faces, and those guys will have chances early and often to make a name for themselves, and I'm sure they will, but it just shows the consistency of our guys that have been in there, that, those 4 guys are all basically right there contending, you know what I mean, for the podium in March, and so we're obviously really high on all of them. I think, Matt kind of made a name for himself, emerging at 133, which is not even his natural weight class, and was a blood round guy as a freshman. And so we're really excited to get him down to his more natural weight class. And we think that he can be dominant at that weight and expect big things. And I think just another year of folk style, many people maybe didn't even realize that he hadn't wrestled a folk style match since high school when he first came in last year, so for him, another year of folk style under his belt with the top and bottom wrestling is going to suit him and serve him really well. And then I'm really high on Parker Filius right now. I think Parker has had a tremendous summer as well. And he's got wins over 2 of the higher returning All-Americans, coming back. And so he, the capability is there, but I think his consistency has looked really strong this fall so far. So I think he's going to, even though he's ranked highly, man, he's going to put himself in the mix. I really like where he's at with his head, and, his lifestyle and his training has always been very strong. Kendall Coleman, looking for a bit of a rebound for him, but I think Kenny's Kenny's looking to rebound hard too. It's up to Kenny. He was beat up a little bit last year, some injuries, and just kind of didn't get the finish that he wanted. It was disappointing for him, I know, and obviously us too. But I think Kenny's looking to bounce hard, and certainly is very capable. If you look at where he was, before, earlier in his career, he can get back there pretty easy. And I think he's looking to bounce hard, and his training has kind of reflected that so far this year. So really excited to see Kenny realize what his potential has been indicating to us. And then Panola, just the consummate worker, the guy's a grinder and just kind of mentally tough as nails. And so, you want to see a guy like that obviously get what he wants too, as he winds down towards the end of his career. So excited for these four guys, not only for what they bring to the table performance wise, but just who they are and kind of how they lead, because they very much lead by example as well. So yeah, pumped for these four. And at the same time, I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to some of these young guys making names for themselves. And you mentioned Noel, right? Like Noel had beaten a few national qualifiers last year, and we've got a number of these redshirt freshmen that have won opens last year too. So I'm pretty confident they're going to come in and move themselves right into some conversations as well.
And there's a lot of opportunity for them too when you look at our schedule and you look at these rankings for other teams that are, going to come into Holloway. There'll be opportunities for guys like, Dustin Norris, for guys like Ben Venadia, a lot of these younger guys who, like Tony said, went out and won opens. Tristan Ruhlman won the Frost-Off Division, the Michigan State Open.
Mm-hmm.
Dustin Norris won a couple opens.
Stoney Buell,
who's
going to be in a tight battle. I mean, we've got Coop Norrie there, who's been in and out of our lineup a little bit, spelling and showed signs of some real promise. So, but Coop and Stoney are going to have a good battle, and that's a great thing. That's a great thing to have competition like that.
For sure. So,
and then I kind of, one of the things getting into the wrestling that I always loved, and it kind of goes back to coach speak in a way, but it's like with these guys, wrestling is one of the only sports. If you beat the guy in front of you over and over and over again, you're going to get where you want to go. Like it's not like football where you got to impress a committee or hit a certain number of boxes. In wrestling, it's you control your destiny. And I love that about the sport. It's like you can go as far as you're willing to push yourself. And that's always super fun. Cause like at OU last year, we had a kid, Willie McDougald, who no one even knew his name. And then he got inserted into the lineup as a redshirt freshman and was a Big 12 finalist. And like that stuff like that happens all the time in the sport. And it's awesome. Cause it's just, you can be the next man up thing is real. Like you could be inserted into that lineup at any time and you have every shot as the next guy to be a national champion. So it's, that's one thing.
I like your point. I mean, because I think that's very appropriate for this team is we know our guys, they're strong redshirt freshmen who have done really well, but other people nationally haven't had to see them yet. And so we're excited for other people to kind of get a look at some of these young guys and what they're capable of.
Absolutely.
Corey, what else you got for us this week, man?
I think William just put a bow on that. What I was going to add was the importance of, or how excited we should be for wrestle-offs because, for a handful of years we've had a veteran lineup, and wrestle-offs were kind of just another process thing that you went through. This year they're going to have a little more juice to them, it seems, with a handful of weights up for grabs, a bunch of young guys that not a lot of people have seen a whole bunch of. So that's 1 month away. 1 month away from today, wrestle-offs in Holloway Gym should be a good time.
Yep.
All right.
Awesome. Well, guys, another great one in the books. And
William, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, happy to be here, guys. Make sure everybody follows us on social, all 3 platforms: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, baby.
Looking like a true communications guy. There you go.
All about the social. Get that content flowing.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll drum up some more topics for the next time down the road. Until then, everybody, thanks. Have a great week and boiler up.